Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Arinta Eka Andriyana and I'm from class 1B and I'm the second semester student of Medical Records and Health Information Department. In this occasion, I would like to present about qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis of medical records. Enjoy! First is qualitative analysis. Definition of qualitative analysis. Qualitative analysis of medical record is a review of the filing of medical records related to consistency and the contents are evidence that the medical records is accurate and complete. Purpose. 1. Supports information quality. 2. Assists in providing more specific disease and action codes which are essential for medical research, administrative studies, and for billing. 3. Is an activity of risk management. 4. Identify inconsistent records. 5. Improve the quality of recording, especially those that can result in compensation in the future. Qualitative analysis component. 1. Review the completeness and consistency of the diagnosis. 2. Review the consistency of diagnosis record. 3. Review records of things that are done during treatment and medication. 4. Review for any informed consent that should be available. 5. Review of recording methods and practice. 6. Review matters that could potentially lead to claims for compensation. Sample case. Hospital did review records and there were complications on the record in which it was not included in the entry and exit records. The left and right were reversed. Improvement can be made with ask for explanation to the person who filled out the record, the medical records. Repeating the form design, remove the doctor's honorarium which is always wrong in recording the progress of the patient's disease. Provide training to service providers. Result of qualitative analysis. Regulation and event that cause injury may occur while expose more facilities and service providers to authorities and cause the facilities and service providers to pay compensation suffered by the patient. 2. Identification of inconsistent and absent record may also reflect a potential clinical motive to pay for damage. And the last, completeness of IC in accordance with established. Second is quantitative analysis. Definition of quantitative analysis. Quantitative analysis is a study or review of certain section of the contents of medical records with the intention of finding specific deficiencies related to medical record recording. So, the quantitative analysis can also be referred to as an incomplete analysis both in terms of forms that must be available and in terms of completeness of filling out all question items on the form in accordance with the service provides to patient. Purpose. 1. Determine if there are deficiencies so that they can be corrected immediately while the patient is still being treated and the deficiency items have not been forgotten to ensure the effectiveness of the usefulness of the contents of medical records at a later date. What is meant by correction is an improvement in accordance with the actual situation. 2. To identify incomplete parts that can easily be corrected by the presence of a procedure so that the medical records become more complete and can be used for patient care, protection of legal cases, compliance with regulation, and for accurate statistical analysis. And the last, completeness of medical records in accordance with the regulations stipulate period of time, licensing, accreditation, or the certificates requirement. Quantitative analysis component. 1. Check patient identification on each sheet of medical records. Each medical record sheet must have the patient identity, like medical records number or name. If there is an anonymous medical record sheet, it must be reviewed to determine whose sheet it belongs. In this case, the concurrent analysis will be easier to complete than retrospective analysis. 2. There are all important reports. In this component, we'll check reports of service activities provided whether there is or does not exist. Reports in the medical records, general reports such as patient history sheet, physical examination, progress note, clinical observation, and disease summary. 3. Authentication review. In this component, the quantitative analysis checks the authentication of the recording in the form of signature, a clear name including a stem or someone code for computerization and writing a clear name, there must be a professional title like a doctor or nurse. In, in authentication, it may not be signed by someone other than the author unless it is written by a doctor on duty or a student. Then there is the author signature plus a countersign by the supervisor and written has been reviewed and carried out on instruction from or has been checked by or is known by. And the last, listening review. In this component will be done, 1. Check on incomplete and unreliable records so that it can be complete and clarified. And the last, check in lines per line. And if there is an empty line outline, so as not to be filed later, if there is something wrong in recording, then the part that is wrongly outlined and record is it legible. Then an explanation is given on the side that the notes it is wrong. Sample case. Each facility or hospital has different rules, so quantitative analysis also varies greatly depending on interest. Hospital A only reviews the signatures and reports required for accreditation and licensing. This hospital only reviews the records in the medical records in detail for special purpose for medical staff. Medical records are taken by sampling. Result of quantitative analysis. 1. Knowing the things it has the potential for pay compensation. 2. Identify deficiency records that must be complete by the health service provider immediately. And the last, completeness of medical records in accordance with the stipulated time period, regulation, licensing, accreditation, requirements for other certificates. Okay, that's all the presentation about the qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis. I'm sorry if I have a mistake. And thank you and goodbye.